Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, 2-run shot to right.
Welcome to Memorial Park, here from the deep backwoods of Burlington County, right off of Route 130. We bring you a Survive and Advance matchup here in Tri-County Baseball. Not only is it Survive and Advance, it's also Do or Die. The Cinnaminson Crew and the Pine Barrens Phantoms, the only series out of the 3 play-in brackets this week to go the distance, with the Crew winning 8-0 on Tuesday night and the Pine Barrens clawing back at Patty Boker Field with a 5-3 win yesterday. This is going to be a good game, all things considered. When we were talking postseason plans with Tri-County, bigwigs and executives, I told them this is the series most likely to go the distance, and we were right. Both teams under 500, and the Pine Barrens, for what it's worth, have the lowest number of points of any team in the Tri-County Baseball League. They have 14 with a 5-10 regular season record. However, going into today, none of that matters. Their regular season record doesn't matter. Cinnaminson's regular season record of 7-11 does not matter. But today, we've got a good game where the objective is simple: win or go home.
And I think that is sometimes some of the best words in all of sports. A pressure-packed situation here between the Cinnaminson Crew and the Pine Barrens Phantoms, where their whole seasons are on the line for the next 7 innings, and they've got to make their mark to try and advance to the next round of the playoffs. A lot at stake here between these two ball clubs, and we have a good game on our hands here in Cinnaminson.
Well, like we said, this is a game between two very different teams just in terms of roster construction. Cinnaminson is a very young team built up with mostly high school grads and college athletes. Meanwhile, Pine Barrens is a little bit more on the amateur side. You've got some older folks like Connor Arsenal and Sean Ahrens, along with Zach Ellen in the leadoff spot, but there are some college players sprinkled in. The starter for the Crew tonight will be L.C. Smith. He's a TCNJ product and a Cinnaminson graduate right up the road here in South Jersey. He's got 5 appearances, just 9 innings, but he's got a 16.3 ERA. That's his issue. He's got 21 earned runs in 9 innings, 15 hits, but 20 walks, 16 Ks, and a 3.89 whip. How will the Phantoms approach them? We'll find out. We're going to flip it over to the main board and introduce the Pine Barrens Phantom starting lineup, presented by Harper Driving School. Zach Ellen takes the leadoff spot today in center field. Sean Ahrens in left, batting second. Ryan Kelly is the right fielder. Joey Steff behind the plate. Connor Arsenal at first. Then it's Wickersham, the DH, Bally, Spates, and Frankie McCartney in the 9 spot pitching. The first pitch from Memorial Park is a called strike, and we're underway from Cinnaminson. 0-1 is the count. To the left-hander, Zach Ellen. Outside corner, just missed.
And you mentioned the high ERA from the starting pitcher in Smith, but again, the team's records and all the points and everything goes out the window. If he can bring his best stuff here today, that'll be all that matters for the Cinnaminson Crew, the biggest game of their whole season right now.
Yeah, and the Pine Barrens also fell in last year's play-in round. They made it all the way to the quarterfinals last year, 2 years ago, falling to the Rough Riders, who eventually became the champions of the league. But it's definitely telling to see how this Pine Barrens roster, since we came on board with Tri-County in 2023, has almost been no changes at all. Meanwhile, Cinnaminson Crew, this is their first year. Ryan Horner is a 2023 grad of Cinnaminson, and he still plays ball down in Gwynedd Mercy, as that's ball 4 to Zach Ellen. But a lot of these guys are players that we've covered in high school. The right fielder, Trent Bannell, he went to my high school. He graduated 1 year ahead of me, or 1 year behind me, and he graduated about a month ago. class of 2025. So you have a decent bunch of guys who are all 18 to 21 years old playing against a veteran group of ball players. As we go back to the 2 spot in the order, fastball from Smith catches the zone versus Aarons. It's 0-1. So free pass, the 21st, allowed by L.C. Smith. He'll step off the mound, kind of a stutter step to first base, looking over towards Ellen. Ellen, the center fielder, he does have 5 stolen bases this year, and he's 5 for 6 in all attempts. So it's not entirely unfounded. In the 2 spot, though, Sean Aarons of Arcadia University in Pennsylvania, 321 hitter in 9 games, 9 for 28, and 3 extra base hits, 3 walks, and a 851 OPS. Throw down to second is not in time, and Ellen just picked up his 6th stolen base of the year as, well, L.C. Smith running into a little bit of early trouble. Nobody out and a runner in scoring position for the Phantoms.
Yeah, the free pass to the leadoff man who has 5 stolen bases on the year, gets his 6th right there to head to second base and put himself into scoring position. Excellent work by the Pine Barrens.
Well, now Smith is working overtime looking back at second. He glanced back at Ellen multiple times during his delivery here to the 2-hitter Aarons. And now it's going to be a bit of a dogfight to get out of this inning because the momentum is in the Phantoms' favor. The Crew won 8-0 on Tuesday night, and then the Phantoms came back and won 5-3 at their home field at Patty Boker. And now that they're starting a Game 3 pitcher with a 16 ERA, the Crew kind of have to work overtime to get that feeling out of the Phantom system. If they score a couple runs in the first inning, I think the Crew will be able to get back in it. But this is going to be a very fast-moving ball game just in terms of how young and agile this Crew team is. That one is lined out towards second base. It's bobbled, but the throw to first is in time. It moves Ellen to third. And a good recovery by Austin Dubler, the PVI grad who's currently at Rutgers Camden. He makes the play. That's the first out of the ball game, but it does put the opening run of tonight's offensive output 90 feet away for the number 3 batter, being Ryan Kelly.
And you mentioned the game yesterday. It was a huge win for the Pine Barrens Phantoms as their starter in that game went all 7 innings. Sean Aherns went all 7 innings. He struck out 16 batters in that game last night. So a huge momentum swing in favor of the visiting Pine Barrens Phantoms here today as they've got all the momentum charging forward, even though they're the visitors here in Game 3. Winning Game 2 at their home field was huge last night, and now anybody's ball game here in the top of the first.
Strike called in the outside corner. I think it also helps that the entire league will be watching this game tonight, mostly considering the fact that this is the only game in town. The other 2 series all wrapped up yesterday. Vineland swept Blackwood and Camden swept Burlington. That one's hit down towards the left field line, and it is foul. So 2-strike count now against Kelly. But, I mean, listen, you hear the wind on our microphones. It is blowing straight in, or at least it was. I mean, it still is blowing in from center field. So you're even in a hitter-friendly park where it's 300 down the lines with a big wall in left, the wind is a little bit more intense than you'd expect for a summer night. So this could definitely throw a wrench into some folks' plans, especially with, again, some taller grass in the outfield. 2-strike pitch to Kelly is outside. 2-2 is the count to Kelly. So 3 batters for the Pine Barrens, and I would argue that all 3 have been productive at bats. We saw a walk to Ellen, a ground out to second base, and now Kelly will look to drive in the first run of the night. Dribbles this one out to the pitcher Smith. He'll throw it back to first, and Ellen is actually going to hold at first base. At third base. So now they have 2 outs, and the Pine Barrens cleanup man is going to need a hit to get a run home because, well, that's how they're going to play it, because Ellen did hold at third. I think it was a smart move, though, to hold. The safe move to hold, especially because of how close that ball was to L.C. Smith. You don't want to risk a double play, especially in this part of the ball game.
Yeah, don't want to risk a double play, and you don't want to – you're 90 feet away from scoring, and you still have an opportunity to get that run across with the cleanup man. And we're also in the top of the first inning. We've got 7 whole innings to play. It's not a do-or-die situation right now in this ball game, and still the runner is –
That's hit out towards left center field. It's deep, going back and sliding in for a catch is the left fielder, Mr. Leadoff man, Noah Waldron in left field, the Collingswood grad, makes a spectacular play to end the inning and rob Joey Steff of extra bases in the power alleys. Cinnaminson keeps the Phantoms off the board. They allow one walk and a couple of groundouts, but nothing more, as the go-ahead run is stranded 90 feet away. Half inning done here at Memorial Park. We'll be right back. Let's take a look at this play in left field by Collingswood grad Noah Waldron to end the inning. Yeah, this was a good play all told. I mean, Smith gave Gilmer a good pitch to hit, and it was hit well out to left center field, but then Waldron, having to cover a lot of ground, goes out there, and there you go. Nice play out there in left field to retire the side. As we return in the bottom of the first inning, with Cinnaminson leading things off with Austin Dubler, the second baseman who was able to recover after bobbling a ball early. Frankie McCartney, the right-hander, getting the start for the Phantoms. The right-hander out of Immaculata have 4.67 ERA. Three appearances, 9 innings. This one's popped up third base side. It could be in play, but it will go out. 9 innings, 6 earned runs, 6 walks, 14 Ks. Even had a complete game to his record this year and a 1.56 ERA as he faces the first 3 for the Crew, Dubler, Horner, and Harvey. 2 of those 3 Cinnaminson grads, one from the class of 25 committed to Richmond, and then Ryan Horner at Gwynedd Mercy, and Austin Dubler currently at Rutgers Camden, again a graduate of Paul Sixth.
And this wind is really blowing in from center field.
It's almost a Wrigley wind.
Going to help the pitchers for sure here in this contest. But that ball hit out to left center field. If that's not caught, the Pine Barrens take an early 1-0 lead, and they've probably got a whole lot of momentum. And even though it's early in the game, we're only in the bottom of the first. With this game, there's so much at stake. You almost have to think that's a game-saving catch to keep the game knotted up at 0.
That ball's popped up foul towards the barns and warehouses down the left field line. But, yeah, I mean, listen, this could be a very low-scoring game for what it's worth. Now, the first 2 games in the series weren't low-scoring, but the conditions of those nights were not the same as tonight. It was a little bit hotter. The ball was flying a little bit more. And, again, the Crew winning 8-0 in Game 1. How about this? A little cue shot out to left field off the end of the bat. Austin Dubler gets a base hit to left, and we've got our first for Cinnaminson this evening as Ryan Horner is the batter. While we have the break, let's introduce the Cinnaminson Crew, presented by Harper Driving School. This is a young lineup. I would say at least 7 of these guys have been covered on DWB at the high school level. Again, Austin Dubler at second base, Ryan Horner at third, Noah Harvey at short, and Figueroa at first base. All 4 infielders in the first 4 slots in the order. Another Cinnaminson product. Matt McCloskey is in center field as the first pitch is inside. Trent Bannell is in right, the Audubon grad. Then you've got Schultz, the DH, Jackson Peacock of Lenape, the catcher, and then Noah Waldron of Collingswood in left, and then L.C. Smith, the pitcher. McCartney to Horner, the player manager for the Crew. Here comes a throw down to second. It's going to be wide. Gets past a couple of guys. Dubler will hold up, and he'll steal second base. So basically the same situation as the top of the first. You have a runner on second with nobody out, and now McCartney has to work through his own jam to get out of it.
And both teams being very aggressive on the base paths, and in a game where your season's on the line, you have to take some chances, and both of them know what's at stake, putting runners in a scoring position. The Pine Barrens couldn't convert in the top of the first. We'll have to see if Cinnaminson can convert here in the bottom of the first.
That one is a swing and a miss. Horner retired on a ball well outside of the strike zone, and there's one away. Yeah, I think the thing with the Phantoms is that they're playing a little bit more for themselves, because this is a team that's very close together, playing out of the Patty Boker Field in Tabernacle. We were joking around with the players before the game that, they said, we're not surprised you didn't come last night. As in, we couldn't do a game at Patty Boker. I think we talked about it last night, where the last time we tried to do a broadcast there, my phone literally had 0 reception, and it had an SOS signal on it. And we were joking with Ryan. I was joking with Ryan Kelly, and he said it has implications for us too, because sometimes we're short a guy, we're trying to call him to see if he's available or if he's coming, and we get no signal because it's in the middle of the woods. So that ball's upstairs. But I mean, the Pine Barrens might be the only stadium or the only franchise where we have to cover them on the roads. They were happy to see us today. We started our Tri-County season with the Pine Barrens back on June 2nd. We covered them an 11-3 loss to the eventual number 2 seed in the league, the Washington Township Senators. That one is cracked out towards short. Throw across the diamond. Looks like he had to get a tag that time, and he is safe. I think the throw was a little bit offline, and Harvey was able to take advantage of it. So the Crew now have runners on first and second because that Dubler runner did not break, and I believe that will be scored in our book as an E6. Bringing up Figueroa now.
Well, that's a tough play out there on the left side of the infield. Looked like it was either the third baseman or the shortstop had to kind of lunge to even just get his glove on it.
Yeah.
And then throwing across the diamond, it's a bad throw to try and get a speedy Harvey. But now 2 on here with just 1 gone for Cinnaminson.
This one's tipped foul by Figueroa. It's 0-1. Again, a lot of familiar high school and college names on this team. Not just the ones that are in the lineup. Nate DeCristofaro, Haddon Township grad, currently at Penn State Abington. His dad is a coach at the University of Valley Forge. Here goes the runner down to third. I thought they were going to attempt a double steal, but they do get him in there. So Dubler now on third. Hold up here. There's nobody on first. The umpire was signaling with his hands that he was safe. So unless they called him out, and then Harvey was out at first. Hard to tell. I can't see the scoreboard either from where we're standing.
Yeah, I believe it looks like there's just a base coach over there.
Yeah, that's
which
definitely
is why
not somebody in uniform.
It's tough to double steal when they've only got 1 guy on. But I was wondering the same thing. Why wouldn't they send both runners? And I realized there's no runner.
There's
over
2
there.
outs then, and that would be correct. So McCartney gets the strikeout, and Harvey instead gets a 6-3 ground out. So I apologize for that. The umpire looked like he signaled safe because he had his hands up that way. But either way, Figueroa is retired. And just like the Pine Barrens did, Cinnaminson leaves the runner on third to end the inning. We'll go to the top of the second, no score.
Jack Mastero, 2 for 3 with a strikeout, a double, and a single. Looking to play hero. He's going to line this one into right center field, and that's going to drop. That's going to do it if they don't Catholic. They do it in a walk-off fashion as GC with Mastero playing hero. An unbelievable
Top of the second, this broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. Leading us off will be Joey Steph. In the top of the second inning, it'll be Steph, Arsenal, and Wickersham. There's the 1-0, misses up and in, losing a little bit of control there. If you're just joining us, both teams left a runner on third in the first inning. However, both failed to score. One hit for Cinnaminson has been all she wrote tonight. As again, Steph, Arsenal, and Wickersham. 5, 6, and then 7 for Cinnaminson. So Steph, hitting in the 5 slot, obviously could have been up in the first inning, but Noah Waldron took away extra bases with a nice sliding catch in left center field. That one will be high. That's going to be a 4-pitch walk for Joey Steph, and it'll be the second walk that L.C. Smith has allowed in his appearance so far. So I think the biggest thing here for Cinnaminson is keeping that control in the ballpark, because with the wind blowing in, you don't have to worry too much about the balls getting over your head in the outfield. You're mostly going to be running in. I mean, this outfield is rather shallow with Waldron, McCloskey, and Bannell, but at the same time, it's also a hitter-friendly ballpark. You have a good 30-foot fence in left field, almost like a mini green monster. That's 300 to left, and then it's 300 to right, really creating a short porch for the left-handed hitters, because the right field fence is a lot shorter. It still is a good maybe 12 to 15 feet, just going off of my estimate, because I didn't bring a measuring tape, but I'm 6 feet tall, and I can't even reach the top of it. So it's a tall fence, is what I'm trying to say. So probably not going to see any home runs tonight, but we're going to see a runner go down to second, though, and that will be Steph getting in there safely. And now Connor Arsenal, just like his teammate Sean Ahrens did in the first, he's going to have a runner on second with nobody out.
I'm getting a little bit deja vu here, because almost the exact same story as the top of the first. Leadoff walk, runner breaks for second. Now there's nobody out. We'll have to see if the Phantoms can capitalize this time around.
Arsenal fouls it back. Got a fastball that he was partially jammed by. Arsenal, again, of Arcadia University, one of several Arcadia products, including Sean Ahrens on the team as well. Arsenal 11 games with the Phantoms. He only missed 4 games in the entire regular season. 303 hitter, 6 RBI, 10 for 33, and a 627 OPS. Smith stepping off the mound a lot. One of the things that I see is that when a pitcher is nervous, they step off the mound a lot. When a pitcher is composed, he knows when it's appropriate to step off the mound. I'm not saying that what he's doing is not apt for the situation, but there is a swing and a miss by Arsenal. He is retired, and that is the first strikeout for L.C. Smith, and now Mark Wickersham will be the batter. But my point is that I see a lot of pitchers, when they're in the middle of a tough situation, they really like to step off. They throw, they step off, they throw down to first, because in here you don't have your 2 disengagement limit that you do in Major League Baseball. So when I'm talking about pitchers that are nervous, you can sometimes just read it in the body language, and the hitters respond accordingly. Wickersham ended up getting a little bit rattled up that time, had to drop to the ground to avoid a fastball missing high and in. And then you see that right there. He's missed a couple times badly in the strike zone, where he's missed up and in and has almost hit a couple batters.
I think the nerves almost stem from the fact that the Phantoms are going to be so aggressive on the base paths. And so now you not only as a pitcher in L.C. Smith have to worry about trying to locate and find the strike zone, you also have to now worry about that guy on the base paths, and you're trying to deal with two battles at one time, trying to make sure to hold the runner on, mix your looks, mix your timings. And when you have to worry about those little things like that and not just worry about throwing strikes, it really throws a hypothetical curveball into your mix as a pitcher, not the kind that you want to throw hitters, but more or less the kind that you want to avoid as a metaphor. And so I think that right now, really just struggling to try and find the strike zone because of how aggressive the Phantoms are going to be on the base paths, and it's causing.
They just called I believe they just called a balk on L.C. Smith because the runner's now at third, and he made his way down there. So we have a runner on third now. I saw some movement in the windup, and I saw the umpire stop at second base, so I believe they did move him over. There is a swing and a miss, though, by Wickersham. Going to have 2 strikes against him. So it'll be a full count with 1 away, or 2-2 rather. Bally and then Spates round out the order for the Phantoms. Here's the 2-2 is a swing and a miss. So he does get 2 strikeouts, but he is still dealing with that runner on third. And like we said, that body language is showing us that, you know, he's a little bit rattled right now. And I didn't really see that at the high school level because this is relatively a low-stakes situation. I saw LC pitch a lot of times for Cinnaminson. Here's a ground ball. It'll go right back to the sender. He'll throw it over to first, and Bally is retired on the first pitch. So the Phantoms for the second inning in a row, Jake mentioned deja vu. Well, you got it. Runner left on third base, and Bally taps out to the pitcher to end the threat. We're through 1.5 here at Memorial Park. No score. Just about 7:30 from Cinnaminson Memorial Park. You're watching coverage of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting and Tri-County Baseball League. I'm here with Jake Clark on the call tonight, and that's going to be a first pitch hit-by-pitch to Matt McCloskey. So hit one right in the tush that time, and McCartney gets a runner on with nobody out. This is a batter that, well, I love Trent Bannell. He's a great guy. He's a graduate of my alma mater, Audubon, and he graduated a year behind me, class of 25. I never thought I would see him wearing another uniform, especially one that's not green and gold. So this is like my moment of, you know, when I'm trying to think here. Here comes the throw down to second base. It's going to be high. Hits off of the second baseman's glove. I think it might have hit off his head too. Counts 1-0 to Bannell. But like when Manny Ramirez played for the Dodgers, like the colors of the Dodgers jersey didn't look right on him. Now, Bannell will be wearing red and white for a little while because he is committed to Rutgers Camden. He's one of 3 Audubon players in this class committed to Camden. Here's a bunt, something that he also did a lot in high school. One of the things I miss from him, though, is his energy. Like, I guess because it's a summer league game, he doesn't have as much, but like when he was in high school, he was the pep guy. He was the guy that he would sometimes annoy the other teams with how loud he was, but he was passionate about the game, and he didn't really care what other people thought about him, and I respected him for that. He does drop down a bunt this time. It will go back to McCartney. The throw to first is in time, The runner did not move from second, so it is an unsuccessful sacrifice because McCloskey stole second base before the bunt. So we have a hit by pitch, and because that was not a sacrifice bunt, that will just be scored as a 1-3 ground out. Now for Schultz, the number 7 hitter for Cinnaminson.
Well, you have to feel bad for the hitter there. He does his job, does exactly what he's supposed to do, gets the bunt down. Looked like it was towards the left side of the infield, but the runner on second base doesn't feel confident enough to move up to third, so he doesn't even get credit for the sacrifice and move the runner over. Instead, now just a simple ground out, and the runner holds at second base.
One away here for Schultz. Again, another Rutgers Camden product. He smokes this ball out towards left field. It's straight away, and it's caught. Stayed up long enough to hit the left fielder in the glove for Gilmer. He was saying there it was hard to see with his eyes with the sun going down that way. Or check that Aaron's out in left field. Again, the Arcadia product. So a line out to left brings up Jackson Peacock, the catcher. 2 outs, runner on second because McCloskey still didn't move to third. We could go 2 full innings without a run here in Cinnaminson. That one's outside. Again, for our folks that are new to the Tri-County League, again, all 11 teams made the playoffs. 6 teams needed to get play-in rounds done. 3 advance, of course. 5 teams got a bye, including the number 1 seed South Jersey Grizzlies and the number 2 seed Washington Township Senators. There's a strike called. So, yeah, I mean, this has been a fun first round so far. We saw on Tuesday night, Vineland shut out Blackwood at their home field, 5-0. They followed that up with a Wednesday night shutout, 4-0 in Sewell over the Blackwood Bears. So they have punched their ticket to the next round. Camden took care of Burlington Township. They beat them 12-5 in Camden Tuesday night, beat them 10-4 last night in Camden, which Jake was also on the call for. An unusual ball game with Camden scoring 7 runs in the first inning. Burlington Township tried to claw back, but it was too little too late. We had some great conversations with some folks after the game for the Pirates. But we're here in Cinnaminson. No score. Could be the lowest scoring contest we've seen in this play-in round, given the windy conditions, although it has settled down. Again, first pitch temperature today on this Thursday night, 85 degrees. By the time we're done, it'll get down to 77 before heating up to 95 tomorrow afternoon. So please stay hydrated for your summer plans.
And I think that right now the reason we're looking at goose eggs for both of these teams, still very early, but it's been because of the pitching and defense, which it feels a little bit ironic to say that, but the pitchers have allowed runners on, but they've managed to bear down.
That's strike 3. McCartney picks up his second strikeout of the night. And obla-dee, obla-da, we go to the 3rd inning here in Cinnaminson. No score between the Phantoms and the Crew. And Argabright with a full count. Outfielders in communication for the Quakers. Everyone's looking around in a tie game, bottom of the 6th. The 3-2 payoff. Ground ball. It's going to get over the head of Tolbert into left field. That's a base hit. 2-run score. Argabright delivers when asked. 5-3. Alex Argabright has given the Golden Eagles a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning. Top of the third here in Cinnaminson. Keep wanting to say we're in the Pine Barrens. We are not. We are right off of Route 130 as L.C. Smith, first pitch, grounded foul towards the Phantoms dugout as Cole Spates of Seneca High School, right in Tabernacle, will be the first batter. It'll be 9-1 and 2. Spates, Ellen, and Ahrens for the Phantoms. But L.C. Smith, we were giving him credit off the air. Let's give him some credit on the air. He came into this start with a 16.3 ERA, and when the Phantoms got runners on, he looked a little bit nervous with his body language. He was stepping off. His pitches weren't exactly hitting, but he has locked in, and he has locked this place down. A 16 ERA has now turned into 2 scoreless innings and a handful of strikeouts as well from Arsenal and Wickersham. And, not to mention, no hits, just 2 walks. So, obviously, Ryan Horner, the third baseman and player manager today, he knows what he's doing when he puts his former teammate on the bump. It's popped up first base side. This could be playable for Figueroa, but it goes out of play. And 2 strikes will be against Spates, one of the younger products on the Phantoms, led by a long-time Tri-County manager, Jerry Lamola. As again, Spates goes down on strikes. That's the 3rd strikeout, and we turn the lineup back over to Zach Ellen, who walked and then stole a base, but failed to score in the first inning.
And I think that Smith has done an exceptional job of when things get tough out on the base paths. He stranded the runner so far. In the first 2 innings, they got all the way over to third base, and the Pine Barrens, the Phantoms just couldn't get a run across. And now starting the top of the third a little bit better with that strikeout and not allowing a leadoff base runner.
Yeah, like I didn't know if this series was going to go the distance just because of how well Cinnaminson played in Game 1. Their pitching did a phenomenal job. They won 8-0. They held the Pine Barrens to just 2 hits, and then when the Pine Barrens got to play on their home field, that ethos was kind of turned on its head, and then the Pine Barrens got on the board early and often, and then, again, a great pitching performance from Sean Ahrens, striking out 16, and then he bats second the very next day. We're very lucky that we haven't had any rain impacting, knock on wood, haven't had any rain impacting our Tri-County schedules for the playoffs yet. But that's just, I mean, the seeding this year has been a little bit weird because so many games have been canceled due to the rain. That'll be a walk to Ellen, so that's his second today. Both have been relatively uncompetitive, but Ahrens will be the batter. 1 away, runner on first for Cinnaminson, or rather for Pine Barrens. But my point is that Vineland was the 10 seed. Blackwood was the 7 seed. Blackwood was 4-14-1. Vineland was 6-6. But because you get a half point just for playing, even if you lose, Blackwood playing 7 more games got them the higher seed. And then Vineland showed, kind of who's boss and outscored the Bears 9-0 with back-to-back shutouts to lead to a series sweep. So they'll be the lowest seed, unless the Pine Barrens win today, then they'll be the lowest seed at 10, advancing to the next round. Ellen parks it at second base, gets in there on a wild pitch. A little bit of trouble by Peacock securing that ball behind the dish. And for the 3rd time in as many innings, the Pine Barrens have a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, they've done an excellent job of a team that right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but I think they have no hits here
Correct.
in the ball game.
Just 3 walks.
They've taken advantage of all those walks, putting runners in scoring position, but they can't get that base knock to drive the runners in.
That ball was ripped foul off the bat of Ahrens. Again, Arcadia product. Got a 2-1 count. Ahrens, a 148 hitter, 4 for 27, 2 walks, and a 374 OPS. Pitch from Horner. Up and away, 3-1. On deck would be Ryan Kelly. Of course, the big story from last night was John Kenny of Burlington Township gave up the bulk of those 7 runs in the first inning versus Camden. And then Camden was able to cruise, got a couple of runs late, and Burlington Township got a couple of runs late as well in a very confusing ball game, but a 10-4 ball game nonetheless. This one's popped up, first base side. It'll be in play, and an easy play for out number 2. I believe the infield, no, it wouldn't have been an infield fly because he only had 1 runner on. But Ahrens, either way, retired, 2 away, and it's Ryan Kelly, the batter, runner on second, and 2 outs for the Phantoms. Kelly out of Kane University in North Jersey of the NJAC Conference, 400 average, 929 OPS, 5 RBIs, 14 for 35, has played in all but 2 regular season games for the Phantoms. He's played in 13 this season. 7 walks as well for him and a 500 on-base percentage. Looking to drive in Ellen here. 1-0 to Kelly. Long delivery by Smith that time. That's poked past left field. It's past Horner. This is going to get down. Here comes a janitor throw to the plate. It's going to get past Peacock. A high bounce in the infield. Got over the head of Jackson Peacock, and it's an RBI single off the bat of Ryan Kelly. And the Phantoms lead this thing 1-0 in the top of the third.
Well, nice job by Kelly to just put the ball in play right there with 2 outs. And we'd seen the Pine Barrens earlier in this game. They got runners all the way over to third base, but Smith was able to strand them and not have them come across to score. The Phantoms this time come up big with a runner in scoring position and take an early 1-0 lead in the top of the third.
That was absolutely a huge break right there. And Ryan Kelly, there's a reason why, A, he's hitting third, and B, that he's hitting 400 on the season. Got to hit that ball out to left field, got it off the end of the bat, and just kind of lined it out there, hitting it the other way. Not a lot of hitters can do that consistently and effectively, and Kelly is one of those guys. So that one misses away. Going to have a 2-0 count to Gilmer, hitting in the cleanup spot.
And for Kelly, as you mentioned, for him to send that ball on a line the other way is not easy to do. He has to keep his hands all the way back in the zone and still be able to square that baseball up, and he did an excellent job that time around.
Inside, Jack Gilmer out of Albright College in Pennsylvania, 5 for 30, 4 stolen bases, a 167 average, 409 OPS. He also has an inning and a third on the hill, but relatively too small of a sample size to make a judgment. But runner on second for Kelly. He singled but then advanced to second on the errant throw home. It's a walk to Jack Gilmer, and now Joey Steff will be the batter. Runners on first and second, and now a quick meeting between L.C. Smith and Jackson Peacock with, not tensions rising, but pressure rising in the top of the third.
Well, and I think this is a good job by Peacock behind the plate. The catcher being one of those positions where there's a lot you have to worry about defensively. Obviously, he can see the whole field, but you also have to be aware of what's going on with your pitcher. And right now, Smith might be a little bit rattled. We talked about the nerves earlier. They still play a big factor in this game. And then after giving up the RBI single, walks the next batter. And now there's 2 on with 2 away here. 1 runner in scoring position. This is still a big spot here for the Phantoms, and Peacock trying to calm his right-hander down before the next at-bat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, this is a team that's very gritty in their hitting style, as there's a ground ball foul off the bat of Arsenal, or rather for Steff. But it's an 0-1 count, 2 away, 2 runners on, Ryan Kelly on second, and then, again, Jack Gilmer on first. It's not easy for these teams to get runs, and it was 5-3 last night and over a 7-inning game. Tri-County's a little bit more high-scoring than that. Pitching obviously still reigns supreme, but in the playoffs, we've seen a lot of high-scoring playoff games, and I thought these two might be feeding off of each other more, but we saw 2 scoreless innings. Now, of course, the wheels can fall off the bus much faster than that, and, I mean, Cinnaminson could pull off a Camden from last night. Bat 11, score 7. There could be so many different scenarios as to what happens in the next 5 minutes. So we don't exactly know, but what we do know is that, the situation that we're given. Barron's up 1-0. They got 2 runners on, and L.C. Smith has allowed 4 walks, one of them being to Joey Steff leading off the second inning. But we've got, again, 2 on, a 1-2 count. And the right-hander ready to go. Looks back a couple of times, and from the stretch. Strike 3 called, outside corner, and that will do it in the second. So a breather for L.C. Smith. He does walk 2, and he gives up 1 on an RBI single to left by Ryan Kelly. We go to the bottom of the third in Cinnaminson, 1-0. bottom of the third inning. This broadcast is brought to you by Vincent's Lawn Care. Get top-of-the-line lawn service from a top-of-the-notch guy. Vincent Folk, to call him today, 609-413-0403. That's a base hit in the left field. To get the inning started in the bottom of the third, first pitch off of McCartney. Lined into the left field side, past Horner and Harvey. And it'll be a leadoff base hit out of the 9 spot for Noah Waldron. We turn the lineup card back over to Austin Dubler out of the left side. I think Cinnaminson's got a little bit of a fire under their belly now that they've got a little bit of pressure under their skin. Oh, this is going to be a late start. Throw down is in time. Waldron had a really late start to second base. He almost did a softball steal where he didn't advance until after the ball had reached home plate. Looking to catch the catcher napping, he ends up catching himself out instead, and that's the first out of the third.
And as a runner, you're always told that, especially on teams that want to be aggressive like the Crew has to be tonight, you have to have a good jump. And right there, the runner doesn't have a good jump towards second base, and you could see it. He broke so late that it was a pretty easy throw for the catcher and well executed by the Phantoms for out number 1 after giving up that leadoff single.
That one is down.
So again, both teams trying to be aggressive. Comes back to bite the Crew right there, and not what they were looking for as they trail on the scoreboard.
3-1 the count to Dubler. He had a single in his first at-bat and then got stranded at third. Strike 2. So the count full to Dubler. Again, it's Dubler and then the Cinnaminson grad Ryan Horner, a rising junior at Gwynedd Mercy, class of 2026. Or excuse me, class of 27 at Gwynedd Mercy. That's going to be outside. Just missed. Don't have the best angle for us out here in center field, but that did look close. Dubler walks, reaches base for the second time tonight, and you're thinking, or at least I'm thinking in my head, if Waldron just stays put at first base and that at-bat plays out the same, you've got 2 runners on and nobody out. But instead, you're kind of back to the drawing board with Horner, who struck out swinging on a pitch well outside the zone his first time.
Yeah, and I think that, again, if you're a runner that gets a bad jump, you can easily pump the brakes and do what's called a false start, where you look like you're stealing and then you revert back to the bag. You almost saw it right there on the base paths from the runner over at first. But now Cinnaminson in a bit of a weird spot here where you would have had first and second, nobody out, prime situation to try and score. Still not a bad situation with a runner on first and 1 out, but it could have been a lot better.
Throw back to first, not in time from McCartney. But as we stand right now, Phantoms up 1-0. This is a do-or-die game, game 3 of the series. We are tied 1-1. The count is 1-0. Cinnaminson won game 1, 8-0. Pine Barrens won game 2, 5-3. Here's another stolen base attempt. This time, ball gets bobbled at short. So no cigar that time, and the Crew, just like old times, are back to having a runner in scoring position. So Dubler is in second, just as he was in the first. He stole second base, got down to third, and then failed to score. But Cinnaminson will certainly be looking for a run because it is becoming more so apparent tonight that runs will be hard to come by. Here's the pitch to Horner, 2-0 count. Right-hander delivers. McCartney, a big swing and a miss by Horner there. I think just trying to do anything that he can to put the ball in play, and sometimes that can be a blessing, but other times it can be a curse. You know, Horner struck out his first time swinging, and that ball was well outside of the strike zone in the other batter's box. Had that kind of sweeping motion from Frankie McCartney. So, yes, it's very important that Horner kind of settles in, and I would argue he should be more conservative in his swing choices. Just like that. Missed at a curveball there, and there's 2 away.
And it looks like it was the same pitch back-to-back there. Looked like a slider, and again in a hitter's count the first time around, he swings and misses, and it's well outside, and then goes down swinging at the same pitch but different location from McCartney. Even though it's the same pitch, he changes locations, changes the eye level of the hitter, and that's what you have to do out on the mound is you can't be too consistent. Excellent job by McCartney for out number 2.
Well, it's the first strikeout tonight, or rather the 4th strikeout tonight by McCartney, second to Horner. And now here is Harvey. He grounded out to short his first time. If you remember, we thought he had a base hit, but the umpire's mixed signals got us messed up, and we've got Dubler on second. And the pitch to Harvey is hit out toward right center field. This looked like it was going to be trouble, but Ryan Kelly is there, and the inning is over. The Phantoms are in front. They haven't exactly taken the driver's seat yet, but they are inching their way there. We're through 3, 1-0 Phantoms.
Doubleheader reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away.
L.C. Smith gave up his first run of the night in the top of the third. He returns for the fourth versus another go at the Pine Barrens Phantoms. It's time for DWB Trivia Time. First of all, we start off the Phantoms in the top of the fourth with Arsenal, Wickersham, and Bally. Starting off with the number 6 hitter, Arsenal, who struck out his first time. Tonight's DWB Trivia Time question is, there's a strike called, who is the only athlete to appear on the MLB The Show cover on back-to-back years? Is it A, Andrew McCutchen, B, Aaron Judge, C, Fernando Tatis Jr., or D, Joe Mauer? The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning. Count 1-1 to Arsenal. Again, Arsenal, Wickersham, and Bally. The 3 hitters due up for the Phantoms in the top of the fourth inning. Still facing L.C. Smith, but now with a 1-run lead. Swing and a miss, a hefty hack, and a swift one at that from Arsenal. And it's 1-2. Really just tried to put everything into that swing, trying to put a drive into a ball from the Arcadia product. Unable to do so that time. It looked like a fastball down and away. He ended up biting it as the 1-2. Dribbles this one over the middle. That could be a base hit. It's stopped by the Richmond Spider, Noah Harvey, who comes flying in like a spider, like Spider-Man, from the shortstop position, flies over across the bag, gets the out at first. It's a 6-3 ground out to retire the infielder Arsenal, and there's one away here in the fourth.
It's such a plus when you can have a guy like Harvey who not only has a great bat, but at shortstop, so much range over there as a fielder, and he displayed it right there, had to run a long way, flashes the leather, and gets out number 1 here for the Crew.
I mean, listen, Richmond is such a great program that I think Harvey is going to excel at. They've had some Jersey guys in the past, but they usually don't recruit too much out of this area. And they're in the CAA, which is the same conference that Udell used to be in, which is where some other guys like Luke Guire from Bordentown, Sam Winsett of Eastern just got out of his freshman year at Coastal Carolina. He's now transferring to Udell. A lot of guys like to stay home. Richmond is one of those schools where it's not too close, but it's not too far, and I think it'll fit him really well when he goes over there. But it's a ground ball out to third. Horner's got to stop. Another play on the run, sliding over at first, doing a ballerina split over at the bag is Figueroa. Unable to come up with it. It was a tough play, and Wickersham, in our book, will get the benefit of the doubt for a base hit. So 1 away, and Wickersham looks to be the first puzzle piece to getting a second run for the Phantoms here in the fourth.
That's another tough defensive play right there. Horner's got to throw on the run across his body, across the diamond, and the first baseman goes down, almost does a split to try and pick that low throw, and he's just unable to come up with it. Would have been an incredible play, but instead the base hit awarded to Wickersham.
That is the second hit of the day for the Phantoms. First came in the top of the third. Ryan Kelly lining a base hit to left field, which drove in the first, and to this point, to this juncture, the only run of the ballgame. Top of the fourth here in Cinnaminson. Don't forget, Sunday morning we'll be back for South Jersey Men's Senior Baseball League at 9 a.m. between the Camden Pirates and Tanky's Tavern, played in Barrington Park. Again, it's a pitcher-friendly field, and we'll see what happens because it's a 5 versus the 4 seed in the SJMSBL playoffs. Again, Camden Pirates, Tanky's Tavern, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. If you've got nothing to do, put some eggs on the griddle, make a panini, or whatever your breakfast of choice is, and watch some DWB. That ball is hit well out towards left field. Going back is Waldron to the wall. He makes the catch up against the wall, as he's done several times without fear at Knight Park. A deep fly out to left, and Bally is retired for out number 2. Noah Waldron's really been a good piece out in left field today. Has had 2 good catches, not to mention, I mean, if that throw, when Mark Kelly hit the single to left field, Waldron lined it up perfectly. It was almost a janitor throw, and if that ball doesn't get bobbled at home, it was a perfect one hop, but it was not executed too well at home. That one is out to second base. Dubler is there, and the throw to first is in time. Cinnaminson makes quick work of the Pine Barrens. They do get 1 base hit, but that's all she wrote in the top of the fourth. Going to the bottom half, Cinnaminson, as the sun sets on this sunsets on this evening. Sun certainly hasn't set on the ball game. 1-0. We'll be right back. Bottom of the fourth inning here in Cinnaminson. Just about, just about 8 o'clock tonight. So, first pitch, flied out towards straightaway left field. It's got some height to it. It's got some distance, but not too much of either. As Aarons flies out to left. Or check that. No, excuse me. It was... I was looking at the wrong part of the lineup card with Figueroa. So it's Figueroa, McCloskey, and Bannell, 4, 5, and 6. Here in the bottom of the fourth inning. The second pitch is grounded out towards short. It's picked up, throw across the diamond is a close play, and it's in time. Out number 2. So Trent Bannell will be up. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Going to be working really fast. It's going to be time for DWB Trivia time. Today's question is, who is the only athlete to appear on the cover of MLB The Show in back-to-back years? Was it A, Andrew McCutchen, B, Aaron Judge, C, Fernando Tatis Jr., or D, Joe Mauer? Jake Clark, you said you're going to go through your thought process on this.
Yeah, I am, and my gut feeling tells me it's Joe Mauer because I don't think that any of the other 3 were on it ever again, and I think that I've seen multiple different games with Joe Mauer on it, so therefore that's my gut feeling. That's what my memory recalls, and that's going to be my answer.
You would be correct, as that's going to be a ground ball back to the mound, And how about that for a very brief bottom of the fourth inning? Give us a little bit more time, players. We got to get this trivia time in. We go to the top of the fifth. It is 1-0 Pine Barrens.
Header.
Literally, they've been here twice, and they're about to score, or on the doorstep of scoring 50 for the second game in a row. Xavier Terry Brown. He is still on his feet. He's being shoved forward into the end zone. But who's got the ball? Look at Jason Solomon. The ball magically appeared in Woodbury's hands, and now they're back at the 50. This one's going back. This one's going to go to the distance. I don't see any flags. Did that just go for 100 yards? I think it did. I do not see any flags as Woodbury. Oh my goodness, Jason Solomon have a day. He is the first man not named Taylor to score. Oh, man. Wow, that was good.
Back to the top of the order for the Pine Barrens Phantoms in the top of the fifth. Zach Ellen leads us off to be followed by Aarons and Ryan Kelly. 1-2-3 for the Phantoms after a lightning fast bottom of the fourth inning. Took just 5 pitches for the right-hander Frankie McCartney to get out of the inning. So it was a F7, and then it was a 6-3 ground out, and then a 1-3 ground out right back to the mound. And they'll lead off the bottom of the fifth with Schultz. But the current task at hand is Zach Ellen, who takes a massive swing and misses that time. And Smith still working. It's still a starter's game here in the top of the fifth in what has been a very low-scoring game for Tri-County playoff standards, or at least from this season, from the small sample size of games this season. I mean, listen, this is my third season covering Tri-County. Going through the playoffs, the pitching really does reign supreme in the playoffs because the bats, just for whatever reason, they always go cold at the end of the season. And we see a lot of 2-1, 2-0, 3-2 games, especially at Alcyon Park. For whatever reason, even though that ballpark is 310 down the lines and 360 to center, we don't see a lot of offense there. And a lot of times, those games are always close. So I'm very excited for the semifinals and the finals, which will be, of course, hosted at Alcyon Park again right around mid-August to see how this shapes up because it's going to be very fun. There's a ground ball out to second. Oh, look at that play by Dubler, unable to get the throw, but he was that close to having an acrobatics attribute attached to his name. Dubler took that ball out of his glove. It hit off of his glove. He got it barehanded, and then just couldn't get the throw down to first. That would have been Sports Center material if he made that play, but no cigar. It's a base hit for Zach Ellen, and now Sean Aarons will be the batter as Ellen has reached base 3 times, 2 walks and a single.
When you have to respect the effort of the second baseman there, it bounces off the glove. He picks it up barehanded off the ricochet, and then the throw just doesn't have enough juice on it to get across the diamond in time. But now for the Phantoms here, they're already up on the scoreboard 1-0, and a team that's been aggressive on the base paths all night long with a lot of success. We're going to have to see if they do that again, and that's where it really got Smith rattled, was when you got those runners on. And so far, he hasn't had to deal with a lot of trouble on the base paths as of recent. And it looks like another balk, yeah.
That's the second against him. So that's going to make it an automatic 2-0 count, and that will now make it Ellen on second base. It's the second one he's been called for tonight, and Horner doesn't seem to be arguing it. But, I mean, listen, that's not the situation that you want. If you're going to move the runner over, do it because of your own mistake with a pitch, not with your own mistake in the motion. But the thing is that pitchers, they have to be so stoic when they're out there. I only pitched twice, and that was when I was 12 years old in Town Ball Little League. I probably moved so much on the mound that every pitch would have been a balk. But In Little League, who calls balks in Little League? The most petty umpire ever? No. When you get to the Summer League, though, this is a good way of learning what flies and what doesn't, especially for a young team like Cinnaminson, as that'll be a 3-0 count. When you're talking about a young team like Cinnaminson, sometimes these guys have to rip the Band-Aid off and learn things the hard way, especially when you have some guys like McCloskey and Bantle that are recent high school graduates. They have not played a minute of college baseball yet, and they will learn that because these are college umpires, college baseball is a lot more unforgiving when it comes to the interpretations and the enforcement of the rules compared to high school, where obviously the rules are enforced, but some of the more obscure ones, like balks, might not be followed as heavily. Like in high school, first of all, that's a 3-2 count. In high school, I've seen umpires give warnings to pitchers before they call a balk. Saw it happen to Alex Morales of Maple Shade. He's a rising senior there. He pitched in a South Jersey Group 1 playoff game versus Pittman, a game that Maple Shade won. And that will be ball 4. So Aarons takes a free pass, and we've got 2 on and nobody out. Bottom line is, he was called for an illegal pitch, and then he was called again for an illegal pitch. So after the second time, Michael Webb, the head coach, and the umpire came out to show Morales what he was doing wrong. I actually thought what the umpire did was a great example. If you watch back the tape from back in late May, he went out to the mound and showed Alex what he was doing wrong, what he was doing in his motion that made it an illegal pitch, instead of ignoring it and just calling it every time and letting the coach pick up the pieces, which I thought was really respectable. Ryan Horner went out to the mound to talk to Peacock and Smith with 2 on and nobody out. He broke from the mound and went back to third base before the umpire could get back out there. So I believe at the moment that Smith is staying in, but you do have Ryan Kelly up, who had the RBI single in the third and has been the sole damage doer of the Phantoms' offensive output tonight.
And when we talk about the balks, I think that's another nerves thing, in the sense that you're so worried about trying to mix your looks, slide steps, leg kicks, somewhere in between to try and fool these hitters and keep these runners honest. Do you fall out of your mechanics, and now you twitch a little bit as you're getting ready to deliver, and you end up moving the runner over on a free pass, a balk? It's not something that happens very, very often, especially with players at this level, very good high school players, college players, and some that are a little bit removed from college, and I think it's a nerves thing here for Smith.
That ball is hit well, right center field. McCloskey camps under it. He makes the catch. The runners do not go. Ellen and Aarons stay put on their stations at first and second base, and McCloskey makes the play. It looked a little bit deeper than it was, but with the wind blowing in, I'm sure that it doesn't help. I mean, these are both, with the wind blowing in here at Cinnaminson, it makes both of these teams' fields pretty pitcher-friendly. I mean, Patty Boker is pretty pitcher-friendly, but I would say it's pretty neutral as well. I mean, that's just one of those fields where kind of anything goes because of how isolated it is. So we got the 4-hitter with Gilmer swinging and missing at the first pitch, 0-1. One away here in the top of the 5th.
Wise move by the runners as well to not tag up, because that ball was hit hard on a line. You really have to gauge, is it going to get down for extra bases or is it going to get caught? They freeze on the line drive, revert back, well played on the bases.
Agreed, absolutely. It's one of those situations that when we're talking about why these players succeed and why these players are playing in the playoffs right now in this competitive situation, it comes down to the little things. You don't just make the playoffs because you swing the bat well or because you field the ball well. It's everything mental. It's everything when you are micromanaging the game into what you need to succeed. When these teams do it well, those are the ones that are winning 10, 11, 12 games in the regular season. I mean, listen, the Senators only lost once in the regular season, and they're the number 1 seed for a reason right now in Tri-County baseball. So, and when I saw them twice this year, they did everything right. They managed their pitching well. I mean, John DiPietro is a great manager with the Senators. He's been there for a long time, and considering that they made the championship series, the Carter Cup, in 2022 and lost to eventual champion Vineland, there's a lot to like about that Senators team. And one of these two, assuming they reseed, I'll have to confirm with Angelo Marciano and look at the playoff bracket, but assuming they reseed at the end of this round, the Pine Barrens might be the ones facing the Senators next week.
And again, it does come down to all the little things, and minor mistakes can lose you really big games, and it happens at almost any level of baseball. And baseball is such a mental sport that all the little things really matter.
This one's dribbled over the mound. Smith has it again. Oh, how about that? He's going to get in there because it looked like Figueroa slipped in the infield. I think he slipped because he was going to throw it to Figueroa, but as he was attempting to cover the bag, he slipped, and Smith, pretty beside himself with his hat removed. He now has the bases loaded because of a little miscue in the infield. Gilmer gets on, 2 hits and a walk, and the Pine Barrens are 1 swing away from putting this game much more heavily in their favor.
And that's one thing where it's an unlucky play, but it also could be prevented with communication because Smith goes off the mound to get that ball. Figueroa over at first thought it was his ball to go get, and then he slips trying to get back to the bag. Unlucky, sure, but again, some of those little things where if the pitcher communicates, he's got it, Figueroa can go back to the bag, and that slip never happens, and we're looking at now 2 outs, but instead the bases are juiced here for the Phantoms, and I'm sure that L.C. Smith wishes, that play gets made and the luck goes in the favor of the Crew, but he'll have to bear down, and he's done it time and time again earlier in this game. We'll have to see what Smith has in store here.
Well, he's got the bases loaded for Joey Steff, who's 0 for 1, walk and a strikeout. Fly ball down the right field line for Bannell, and it is foul out of play. We are here at Memorial Park, Field 7. There are multiple baseball and softball fields around the complex. This is the one that's most often used, and it sees Cinnaminson play Cinnaminson High School, led by Alex Injayan, play their senior night here every year versus the Riverside Rams. So I would like to come here next year, Mr. Injayan, if you're watching, or Mr. Brian Wilkinson, the athletic director at Cinnaminson, because we'll be doing 2 football games with the Pirates as well in 2025. Big swing and a miss. Steff down on strikes. It's the second time that he has been retired with the strikeout tonight, and it is the 4th overall, check that, 5th overall strikeout for L.C. Smith. Bases loaded, 2 outs. You've got Connor Arsenal now. What's your hitting plan for Mr. Arsenal?
Well, I think that right now you have to be aggressive and just look to put the ball in play, right? You can't look for a walk here, especially with how Smith has handled the pressure really, really well. You have to just try and be looking to hit something. A line drive probably scores 2 here if you can get it deep enough.
That's a swing and a miss by Arsenal. It's 0-1. Arsenal is 0 for 2, struck out in the 2nd inning, grounded out to short sharply on that nice play by Harvey in the 6th slot in the 4th inning. But this is the 6th man to bat for the Phantoms in the 5th. We started out with the leadoff guys. Ellen singled, Aarons walked, Kelly hit a line drive to right center field but was caught by McCloskey. Gilmer singled, and now Steff struck out swinging. So we've got a 0-1 to Arsenal. Gets another swing and a miss there. An aggressive approach from Arsenal. 2 big swings, and you don't want to let this chance go to waste, because if you let this chance pass you by, Cinnaminson in the bottom of the 5th inning is going to be batting their 7, 8, 9 guys, Schultz, Peacock, and Waldron. But after that, if 1 or 2 of those runners get on, then I think the pressure is on for the Phantoms, and they want to make this a little bit less stressful, not more stressful. Here's the 0-2. In the dirt. Down and away that time from Smith. He steps off the mound before Peacock throws the ball back. Grabs the rosin, and it's 1-2. So, again, Schultz, Peacock, and Waldron, all 3 good hitters, but they're just hitting at the bottom of the order tonight for Cinnaminson, and I think that as we go along into this game, we're getting pretty deep into it. We're already past the halfway point. We've been mostly, knock on wood, flying by in this game because one team is older and more veteran-like, the other team is younger, more inexperienced, and Cinnaminson, not a lot of these guys have played with each other before this summer. So it's interesting to see everything kind of meshing together for Cinnaminson. Fly ball center field. McCloskey's going to have to track it. He makes the catch, and the inning is over. Played it perfectly to his south and to his left as the side is retired on a fly out to center field, and the Phantoms do what their worst fear was and leave the bases loaded. They've left plenty on the base paths tonight. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Cinnaminson still with the window open for the Crew, 1-0. Bottom of the fifth here in Cinnaminson. Frankie McCartney throws a first pitch strike. Pine Barrens lead 1-0 here in Game 3 of the Tri-County Play-In Series. We've got two beautiful dogs behind us in the broadcast booth tonight. Hi! Hey, bud. It's because I have two dogs at home. It's an infield base hit. And even as a broadcaster, you have to live life a little bit. That's an infield single as we kick off the bottom of the fifth inning. So Schultz gets aboard, and this is what we had talked about, where even in the 7, 8, and 9 parts of the order, if the Crew can get something aboard, can get something turning in those wheels, they might be able to get this game tied up or even take the lead. And they have that now. Schultz on first, Jackson Peacock. First pitch strike on the slider by McCartney. Also noticing that there's two number 22s. If you look out in center field, Zach Ellen on the right side of your screen, and then Frankie McCartney on the left, both wearing 22. But again, in the Summer League, a little bit more of that leniency flies. Big swing and a foul tip by Peacock.
I think
0-2.
I think McCartney's the one that has the different jersey.
He's got something of an older jersey.
If you look at the rest of the numbers on the backs of the infielders, they match up more with the 22 in center field than the 22 on the mound.
Yeah, no, I've seen that jersey before. Jerry Lamola's worn that one for not that specific jersey, but that style for years with the small green P instead of the Phantoms script across the front. Peacock goes down on strikes. There's one away for Noah Waldron. He's singled in his first at-bat, and he was cut down at second base attempting to steal. And he's made a couple of good plays out in left field today, as there's a strike called. I want to say a quick hello as well to Mr. Clark. Your mom was watching tonight and got the trivia time question correct.
Yes, my mom. Shout out to my mom, Melissa, watching. I'm not sure if she got it right or was just happy that I got it right, but regardless, she's watching, so I appreciate you, Mom, for
And my mom is watching as well back at home in Audubon, so we always appreciate the mothers who help out our broadcasts, especially Donna Wilkins, who has done many DWB broadcasts over the years. That's a base hit in the right field. Kelly picks it up. So this is exactly what Cinnaminson wanted. You wanted productivity out of the bottom spots of the order. Schultz and Waldron, the 7 and 9 hitters, both get base hits. Waldron now 2 for 2, and McCartney now seems to be the pitcher on the hook, because we always thought for the majority of this game that L.C. Smith was going to be the one on the hook. Instead, now it's the Pine Barrens right-hander. As we go back to the top of the order, it's Austin Dubler, the PVI grad and rising sophomore at Rutgers Camden. He has a base hit to lead off the game in the first and a walk in the third. Here's the first pitch from McCartney. Breaking ball inside, 1-0.
McCartney's going with that breaking ball inside to left-handers, outside to right-handers, and he's gotten that location a lot called for a strike by the home plate umpire. But again, this is a situation where it looks really bad, but if the middle infield's able to turn a double play, you get out unscathed.
That, and also that curveball has a lot of sweeping action. So running it inside to the right-handers runs the risk of hitting them, and running it outside to the left-handers runs the risk of it hanging over the plate and being crushed for a home run. So there's a lot of different ways that sweeping curveball can go, but McCartney's really been insistent on using it tonight. And I'm honestly also surprised that we've seen a 1-0 game, considering the fact that both pitchers came in this game with an ERA above 4. L.C. Smith with an ERA of 16. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. He has really, really shut down these Pine Barrens players tonight. It's a strike called to Dubler, and he's got a 2-strike count against him now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. And again, 2 singles this inning, which has been all that Cinnaminson has been able to muster this game. They've picked up just 4 base hits, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch. Dubler golfs one in the left field. That's a base hit. It's going to be picked up by Aarons. Runner comes in to score, and the Crew have tied the game. RBI single, Austin Dubler. And out of the top part of the lineup card, we have tied this game. RBI single. It's the 3rd this inning with only 1 away off of Frankie McCartney. And the Crew have put their hands together for a tie game. We're up 1-1, bottom of the 5th.
And this is what we talked about. The Phantoms had their opportunity last inning, bases loaded. They couldn't push across a run, and now the bottom of the order gets a little magic working for the Cinnaminson crew, and the top of the order now comes up, drives in those runners, and they've now tied the game at 1.
Inside to the right-hander Horner, the player manager. Cinnaminson had a team from 2022 to 2024 known as the Cinnaminson Reds, which was led, I forget the name of the gentleman that ran the team, but we covered them for a couple of years. This roster, for those who are unaware, is entirely different. Not a single player played on both teams that I know of. But the Cinnaminson Reds, they were owned by a different team. They still played at this field, but we never got a chance to cover a Cinnaminson home game while they were known as the Reds. But with their team closing at the end of 2024, the crew stepped up, and that's where I think a lot of people get confused, is that there is a different timeline here. This is the first year of this franchise. They just play with the same town, the same colors, and the same park, but just a different team name, the Crew, which I like. One of the big things that I don't know if I have like some OCD or something, but it's something about Tri-County teams not having a city and a name, like CHBR third base. When I'm used to the Pine Barrens Phantoms and the Cinnaminson Crew, this ball's hit well, left field. Aaron's, it's a straightaway ball. Runner tagged from third. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. Sacrifice fly, Ryan Horner. And we talk about helping your own cause. How about helping your own cause as a manager? A sac fly to left, and the Reds, check that, the Crew, have taken the lead 2-1 in the bottom of the 5th. That is huge, especially in a do-or-die Game 3 of this play-in series. Couldn't have asked for anything more. An entertaining game, not too much offense, but the pitchers are in control to the point where, it's very much noticeable. And now we've seen the fruits of their labors come in for the 7, 8, 9 hitters, 2 hits, and both of those base runners, Schultz and Waldron, have now scored.
And this inning was huge for the Crew because, again, not necessarily early in this ball game anymore. In fact, it's pretty late. We're in the later stages of this baseball game. Tri-County game's only going 7 innings. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Cinnaminson needed some juice with the offense, and they got it here in the bottom of the 5th inning, scoring 2 runs. And again, Schultz gets everything started with that infield single, and the snowball effect happens where now hitting becomes contagious. They've driven in 2 runs now, and the whole game is flipped upside down in favor of the Crew.
This one is popped up. It's going to go out of play off the bat of Harvey. Again, the graduating senior class of 25 from Cinnaminson headed to Richmond in the fall to play for the Spiders. They have a really nice infield. They have, I believe, an all-turf field in Richmond. And as a shortstop, it helps him a lot because he's going to get those really nice plays on smooth ground balls. I would say turf doesn't really help for like a first baseman or a third baseman, but for a shortstop, you're playing far enough back to where it doesn't hurt you too badly. McCartney outside.
I think the turf is worse for the outfielders because if
That's
a ball
true.
gets down, it's just going to roll, and you've got no chance. You kind of have to run alongside it until you cut it off.
Yeah, there's no friction down there. Wind is starting to pick up again. The 2-2 hit well, left field. Aaron's again, and it's out of play towards the walkway down the left field line. Again, not too hot tonight here in Cinnaminson. It wasn't too hot in Vineland on Tuesday. It wasn't hot at all in Burlington Township last night, and it's been kind of pleasant after what was a brutal summer with rain galore every day and every night. Now tomorrow is not going to be much better. It's going to be 95 tomorrow, which I'm not looking forward to that. But I'm glad that we don't have any Tri-County games tomorrow. There's a ground ball out to short, throw across the diamond, close play. They say he's safe. Throw to the plate, not in time. How about that? A run will come in to score from second base, as it'll be an infield single for Noah Harvey. The shortstop took his time with the throw. It was a close play. It looked like Harvey either tripped or slid face first into the bag, and that's going to be an RBI single in the infield with Dubler coming around to score. And they have now extended their lead to 3-1. No change from Jerry Lamola yet, but the Crew have poured it on. Not exactly poured it on, but they have made a very strong statement here in the 5th.
good things happen when you put the ball in play, and Harvey exemplifies that right there. Looked like a routine ground ball over to short, but a bad throw pulls the first baseman off the bag. Harvey hustles it out, and then the run scores from second base. A heads-up base running play there from both Harvey and the runner at second to extend this Crew lead. Now 3-1 here in the bottom of the fifth, with all runs being scored for the Crew in this inning.
This is the 7th batter in Figueroa for the Crew. Big swing and a miss there. Got a 1-1 count. McCloskey would be next, but Figueroa's 0 for 2. Strikeout in the first inning to end the frame, and a fly out to left in the fourth. So right now as we stand, Cinnaminson entered this inning down 3, or down 1, and he fouls it back to make it 1-2. But again, Figueroa out of Rutgers Camden, one of many players out of Rutgers Camden, 350 hitter, 7-4-20. 1 double, 1 triple, 1 walk, 5 stolen bases, and an 881 OPS. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Frankie McCartney is looking to get out of this inning without more damage than he has already succumbed to here in this ball game and here in this inning. That one is low, 2-2. McCloskey would be next to it, a hit by pitch and a ground out, 0 for 1. And then Bannell, who's 0 for 2 with 2 tap outs and ground outs, right back to the pitcher, Mr. McCartney. That one is low. Throw down to second is high. Swiping the bag at second is Harvey. He is safe with a stolen bag. And now not only do we have a 3-2 count, but he's 1 ball away from extending the inning with a walk, which would reoccupy first base rather quickly.
And it will be interesting to see here the approach, because again, anything close, a ball to the outfield probably scores a run.
Got it off the end of the bat. Might have broken the bat that time. It's going to drop in right field, barehanded by Kelly. They're not even going to throw it. He pump faked twice, and Kelly just didn't let go. It's an RBI single for Justin Figueroa. It's a 4-run inning. 3 of the last 4 batters have contributed RBIs as a broken bat RBI. He may have broken the bat, but he doesn't get to break his pride. It's 4-1. Cinnaminson, batter number 8 coming up with Matt McCloskey.
Well, at least the bat goes down with a hit.
And that hit him. I'm sorry to interrupt. That was his second hit by pitch today, right around the same area. And this is going to be trouble for the Pine Barrens. I mean, listen, this is not the situation that you want if you're Frankie McCartney. You had a really good night before this. You were doing well, struck out a whole bunch of guys, and it looked like that your night was going to be very good. But Jerry Lamola is coming out, and that is either going to be the end of the night or it's going to be your ultimatum. Either figure it out and get us out of the inning, or we've got somebody ready to replace you, because Pine Barrens have had a right-hander warming up in the bullpen for quite a while now, at least 15-20 minutes. So we'll see what they've got. But let's run over an ad read real quick. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Rowan College of South Jersey at Gloucester campus. Become a prospective athlete of the Roadrunners today by visiting their athletic website at rcroadrunners.com and or by following them on social media at rcroadrunners on all platforms. You can join the Roadrunners, and not only do they win on the field, they also win in the classroom, providing a great community college experience while being a fraction of the cost, while also having great connections with Glassboro along with the Rowan Choice program. You can become a student at RCSJ, either online or in person, by visiting rcsj.edu. The batter is Bannell, 9th batter of the inning. He's going to float this one out towards right center. It's going to be caught at second base, and the inning is over. So a rough inning for the Pine Barrens. Frankie McCartney, after a mound visit by Jerry Lamola, only needed 1 pitch to get out of it. However, 9 batters, 4 runs, and the damage undoubtedly done. Pine Barrens entered this inning up 1. They exit down 3. We go to the 6th.
Goldberg is a shortstop tonight, but he had a 400 average in 2023 as a junior. A homer in each of his sophomore and junior campaigns, 331 career mark and a 430 career slugging percentage. And speaking of home runs, there's a fly ball to left, and it's gone! Devin Goldberg answers on opening day with a first pitch rocket to left, and it's 1-0 Bridgewater. We were just talking about the long ball, and he stomps on the plate, mobbed at home, and Goldberg, the leadoff man, with a swing of gold. It's 1-0.
Top of the 6th inning, Pine Barrens, they have work to do. Strike is called from L.C. Smith. If you fell asleep for the fast 15 minutes, you missed a lot. The Cinnaminson Reds scored 4 runs across 9 batters, and they now take a 4-1 lead entering the 6th inning. As L.C. Smith, still working, originally slated to be the losing pitcher after giving up 1 run on an RBI single in the top of the 3rd to Ryan Kelly. However, he now enters the 6th as an entirely different figure. Seems like his body language has calmed down, and the pitcher who came into this game with a 16 ERA is 6 outs away. Make that 5 outs away with the strikeout to Wickersham from advancing the Cinnaminson Crew in their first franchise year of 2025 here in the Tri-County Baseball League to the next round of the playoffs.
And Smith has done such a great job of when the ship has gotten rocky, he's been able to calm things down and calm the storm with runners on the base paths. We saw it in the first 2 innings. A runner got to 3rd. He stranded him over there. He allowed the 1 run, but then in the top of the 5th, the bases get loaded, and L.C. Smith walks away unscathed, still only has 1 run given up in this ball game, and his buddies out in the lineup help him out a little bit, scoring 4 runs in the bottom half of the 5th, and now this ball game is flipped upside down than it was just an inning ago, as Cinnaminson holds a 3-run lead here with 5 outs remaining.
Smith facing Bally, and then Cole Spates of Seneca. Counts 1-1 with 1 away. Top of the 6th inning. Sun is setting here at Memorial Park. Lights are on, and we're ready to go. I mean, listen, the game last night in Burlington Township was 2 hours and 16 minutes. Tonight, looking like it could be a little bit quicker, but Cinnaminson, they were efficient. They got all of their work done in 1 inning. And other than that, I mean, what was the bottom of the 4th? 5 pitches? They had the first 2 outs on the first 2 pitches. And for notes, Pine Barrens have started to warm up a right-hander again in the bullpen down the left field line. Can't tell exactly who that is down there. It's number 4 warming up. So we'll get eyes on them when we get a chance. That one missed that time, but L.C. Smith now, I think what you have to think about if you're Ryan Horner, can we afford to pitch somebody else running the risk of L.C. has been so good? The hardest part that a manager has to make when he's pulling a starting pitcher is when is the right time. If you pull him too early, then you run the risk of your bullpen getting too tired, as this one's hit well, left field line towards the corner. Waldron will watch that one leave the park. And it's still foul for a 2-ball, 2-strike count. So, as we stand, again, the Pine Barrens came into this game as the lower seed, but even having a 5-10 record, they still looked like they would be a tough match for Cinnaminson. And the only reason why I said before the play-in round started that this was the series most likely to go 3 was experience. The Pine Barrens have been here since 2022, and they played in the Rancocas Valley League under the same banner, at the same ballpark, with roughly the same roster for several years. These are mostly college graduates who are in their late 20s, and as we get ready for a full count here to Bally, who's 0 for 2, this Pine Barrens team has been around for a long time. Some of these players who are on the Cinnaminson team, they may have played travel ball together, but this is the first full year under the Crew name, jersey, and ballpark. That's a walk to Bally. It's walk number 5 for L.C. Smith, and that has been his biggest blemish. Even though he only gave up 1 run, even though he has worked very well under pressure, it almost feels like he only works well when he is under pressure. It's a backwards scenario, but that feels like what's happening right now. He's going to get Cole Spates here with a runner on first and 1 out, but he's done his best, his most cumulative and impressive work when he's got multiple base runners acting against him.
Yeah, he certainly has, and even though the walks are a bit concerning, you mentioned 5 free passes for the right-hander here today, but he's been able to get his way out of it, and only the 1 run to show for it. Now with the 3-run lead, would be ideal to not have any free passes or runners on, but when they're not coming across the score and hurt you where it matters most in the run category, he's done a nice job of limiting the free passes to being harmful.
Stumbled off the mound that time, missed outside. That is a high mound, and
He lost his glove.
He lost everything. He lost his hat, he lost his glove, and I think he has to kind of, I mean, he didn't completely fall, but he stumbled off the mound. You can see he's tapping his glove against his right thigh that time. So
I mean, when they
he's okay.
When they call the mound the hill, they're not joking. When you come here to Memorial Park Field 7, that's a steep mound where if you're a pitcher, you don't mind throwing off it because you might get a couple extra miles per hour on your fastball.
Throw back to first, not in time. Counts 2-0 to Cole Spates. Again, a hitter hitting under 200 this year, batting at a 9 slot from Seneca High School, who won back-to-back sectional championships in 2023 and 2024 under the leadership of, excuse me, under the leadership of some great folks over there at Seneca. Ryan Sevening, the head coach over there. They beat Haddon Heights right down the street from me both years in 23 and 24. One as the 1 seed, and then their first year as the 8 seed in 2023. This year they had a bit of a down year. They were unable to three-peat. We saw them twice. We saw them in late April in a 6-2 loss to PVI, and we saw them again in early May 2nd to be exact, in a night game at Dingletown in Chemung, New Jersey. 5-3 win over Morristown. The second multi-home run game of the year. Cole McKenna had 2 versus West Deptford, and in that Morristown-Seneca game for the losing effort, Chase Kroberger, a commit to Alabama, went yard twice and almost took out David Cohen in right center field. But yeah, it was pretty fun. 2-run single in the bottom of the 6th by Alex Argabright to help win the game in the 6th. L.C. Smith having a long conversation with Jackson Peacock, and the umpire didn't really budge him. I'm wondering if he's still just trying to regroup here. I mean, he's not in the best count in the world. I mean, he's just in a 3-1 here versus Cole Spates, and now he's trying to rebound and avoid getting 2 runners on, and much more importantly, looking to avoid walk number 6 tonight. Does get a swing and a miss that time. I think he just needed some extra time to regroup. Counts 3-2. Spates 0 for 2, struck out looking in the 3rd, and grounded out softly to second base to end the top of the 4th inning. That was the first inning after Pine Barrens scored their first, and to this juncture, only run on the Ryan Kelly RBI single. There's a swing and a miss. He got him. 2 strikeouts for 2 outs in this frame, sandwiched by a walk. And Smith now has 5 strikeouts on the night. And there's 2 away here in the top of the 6th. L.C. Smith coming out of the game, he gets a rousing ovation from the Cinnaminson faithful. He gets a nice standing from the Cinnaminson dugout. We'll have a pitching change here in the top of the 6th inning. They're 4 outs away from their first playoff series win in franchise history. Right-handers coming on. We'll be right back. Charlie Kind of St. Joe's is the pitcher for, or check that, of Delaware is the pitcher for Cinnaminson here in the top of the 6th inning. 2 runners on. He replaces L.C. Smith. That curveball misses low. The runner will go. Ellen told him to hold. However, he runs through the stop sign at home plate. Maybe he didn't see the stop sign at home plate. He advances to second anyway. So 2 outs. Smith ends his day with 6 strikeouts, 5 walks, and only 3 hits allowed. Check that, 4 hits allowed. So really just a polarizing appearance for L.C. Smith. He goes 5 1/3, which in a 7-inning Tri-County game is quite impressive. However, 5 walks is a little bit concerning. But then if you're Ryan Horner and if you're a Cinnaminson Crew fan, you kind of forget that because of the situation he put you in. He stayed in long enough and stayed consistent long enough, worked well under pressure to allow Cinnaminson to just kind of roll through, and then the run support came just at the right time in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the pitch from the lefty to the lefty. Kind to Ellen. He stepped off that time. So got a 1-2 count and 2 away. Next 3 for Cinnaminson in the bottom of the 6th. Could be their last hacks of the night. Will be 7, 8, 9. Schultz, Peacock, and Waldron. Ground ball out to short. Throw by Harvey is in the dirt. Ellen falls over the bag. Oh no. He goes down. He's clutching at his left arm, which is where he landed. Cinnaminson is coming off the field, so I assume that he's out. But Zach Ellen is hurt down the first base line. A big blow for the leadoff man for the Phantoms. And he appears to be writhing in pain down the first base line. Jerry Lamola will come out. And this is not a high school or college game where there's trainers on site. You kind of have to wing things here. He's stretching out his left leg, so his right leg. It might not have been his arm. It might have actually been his leg because he kind of did a somersault over the bag at first base, and he will walk things off. And actually, Trent Bannell's going back to his position in right, and Matt McCloskey's going back to his position in center. So he was actually safe, it looks like, which is even bigger for the Pine Barrens. The question is, they got to make sure he's going to be able to stay in this game because there's not too many substitutes that they have, if any.
And it'll be interesting to see how they score this, how the umpires handle it, because right now it looks like if he's safe at first, I believe a run scored. Because
yeah, that would be right.
When the runner goes down, everybody kind of stops and looks, and the runner on the base path, there's 2 outs. The play is still alive.
Yeah.
Ends up scoring. So it'll be interesting to see, do they send that runner back to third?
He's going to run it out. He's just taking a trot there.
But the big concern is the player okay? Is
yes.
everybody healthy? Again, this is it's almost kind of play at your own risk, right? No athletic trainers on site. If something serious happens, you're kind of left to fend for yourself. And it looks like
he's staying in.
And it looks like they'll have the run score. So
yeah,
good sign that the player is
first.
healthy. If you're a Phantoms fan, it's a good sign the run comes across to score. And now just 1 run closer to being back to square one and even in this ball game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is not the only environment where you can see, bad injuries on a bad night, and that's exactly what we were talking about. That one's lined. Oh, no, Noah Harvey! That is some spidey senses from the Spider. Noah Harvey with a leaping catch at short. Takes away a hit on the first pitch from Sean Aarons, and after a lengthy delay by Zach Ellen's injury, he'll get to go back to the dugout because the inning is over. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Cinnaminson Crew look to extend their lead. It's 4-2. Pine Barrens 2, Cinnaminson 4. A fantastic play by Noah Harvey, which we'll look at later, was the final play of the inning. The new pitcher is Jaden Kerr of York College in PA. We've covered before on DWB when they played Rutgers Camden. He's got 6 2/3 innings this year, 8.4 ERA, and 8 earned runs in those 6 2/3 innings, a 335 on base against and a 255 whip. Strike is called to Schultz. Counts 1-1. So 7, 8, and 9 for Cinnaminson. It's the same predicament we were in the in the 5th inning. However, a huge rally came about and 9 batters came up, 4 runs came to score. 1-1 from Kerr to Schultz is skipping low, and it's 2-1. At this point in time, I think that Cinnaminson, they're happy, but they're not content. This isn't like Camden and Burlington last night where you score 7 runs in the first inning and you can kind of waltz your way through the rest of the game. That one will hit the batter Schultz, and he will reach first and make things a little bit interesting for Cinnaminson. A leadoff hit by pitch for Schultz, who reaches base for the 2nd time tonight after leading off the prior inning with a base hit. Batter is now Peacock.
And this is how the last inning started here. Leadoff runner gets on, and it looks like there will be a quick mound visit just to talk to the new right-hander out of the bullpen. But again, for the Phantoms, you have to be looking to do damage control here, right? Out in the field, the only thing you can do is make the deficit worse. You're not up at the plate where you can score some runs. So for the Pine Barrens here, they've got to have a quick inning and then see if they've got a rally working in the top of the 7th to tie the game, push it to the bottom of the 7th, or take the lead and then put the pressure back on the Cinnaminson crew. But right now, for the new right-hander in Kerr, he's got to just look to, again, play damage control here, and he's not off to the greatest of starts with the hit by pitch.
I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. It could have been a double, could have been more, could have gotten the ball into the gap and got 2 or 3 bases out of it. But this is just a hit by pitch. You've got the 8 batter now, Jackson Peacock, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. If you can keep that trend going your way, this one's popped up right field. Kelly is there, and he is now 0 for 3 as Peacock flies out to right to Kelly, and there's one away. So yes, damage control is the name of the game here. Getting quick outs and getting your way to the top of the 7th, because the Pine Barrens have a little bit of momentum in their tank. They have the 2nd run that they scored in the top half of the 6th, but then Noah Harvey kind of put a nail in it, not in the game, but in their efforts with the beautiful catch at shortstop. And now you have Kelly, Gilmer, and Steph, who have done a notable amount of damage in the Barrens order in this game. And Ryan Kelly delivered the first of 2 runs for the Phantoms tonight with an RBI single to left in the 3rd inning, rather. So as we stand right now, this game is not out of reach for either side, and it's not settled. But this is why we play a 3rd game, and this is why we, play the game that we do, is for moments like this where everything comes down to just a couple of key moments and a couple of key mistakes that can really make or break a team's entire season. Months of work from Memorial Day weekend up to now are all at jeopardy. This is the first year for the Pine Barrens in the Tri-County. First year for the Cinnaminson crew in the Tri-County Baseball League, and this is the 4th full season for the Pine Barrens Phantoms, and they're looking to make their deepest playoff run yet if they advance to the semifinals or faster. They were eliminated by the Rough Riders in 2023, who went on to win the title, and then they were eliminated in the play-in round in 2024, failing to make a top 5 seed. Runner on first, 1 away after Peacock's fly out to right for Waldron. Swing and a miss. And he'll have 2 strikes against him here as, again, Peacock being 0 for 3, it kind of put a gap into the crew's thinking, because you do have Dubler, who had an RBI single, and you had Horner and Harvey next up. It's outside to Waldron, who again is 2 for 2, 2 base hits. So if the trends continue to go his way, could get a 3rd knock off of the Barrens right-hander. And where we stand right now, it's certainly looking like we could see a fun moment here in the bottom of the 6th. Let's see how it rolls. Here's the pitch with 2 strikes, and it is low. 3-2 the count. Again, Dubler on deck. He's reached base all 3 times 2 singles and a walk, including an RBI as a part of that very, very important 5th inning. 3-2 popped up right center field. This could be trouble for Ellen, who's got it. 3 fielders go out. The second baseman comes in and grabs it for out number 2. I think that's the right play for the second baseman to make. I mean, Ellen would be going too far to his left. Kelly would be going too far in. It's the closest play for the second baseman to make, and a good thing that he made communication out there, especially with Ellen being still a little bit hampered by that injury, whatever he had in the top of the 6th inning. He's now getting out in the field, and you don't want to give him too many reps right away. So we go back to Dubler.
Well, Kelly there as the right fielder, it's his call because he's the outfielder rushing in. He doesn't think he's going to get there, so the second baseman ranges back, makes a tough play. That's not easy for an infielder to range back like that, moving off of the dirt in the infield into the outfield grass and making the play out in no man's land, but nevertheless makes the catch, and that's where communication comes in clutch there for the Pine Barrens, as now they have 2 gone.
Here's the 1-0 to Dubler. Again, 2 for 2, 2 singles and a walk. It's outside. He's got a 2-0 count. I mean, yes, that is the easiest play is for the right fielder to just run straight in on a line. And it does complicate things a little bit because you have taller than normal outfield grass. This isn't your professionally landscaped baseball field that has, picture-perfect grass and a perfect ball movement. I mean, this field doesn't even have a warning track, which you made note of last night. You made note of it tonight in Cinnaminson, but it was the same issue last night in Burlington Township. A lot of fields don't have warning tracks, and a lot of fields have taller grass. The grass is actually shorter in the broadcast booth than it is on the field. So the ball isn't going to roll very much if it hits the ground at all. That misses outside to Dubler. He's got 3 and 1 here. So Horner, the player manager, is next. And it would be, talking with Horner, knowing him, he's a young kid, he's a great kid, and he is mature for his leadership, being able to manage and lead this team to a potential second-round playoff game or second-round playoff series at only 20 years old. We think about the great managers that are currently in the Tri-County League. Jerry Lamola of the Phantoms, Kip Bard of the Cherry Hill Bad Guys, John DiPietro of the Washington Township Senators, Chris Williams with the Vineland Gartons. So many good managers who have been here for so long. And Horner is the new kid on the block who is, ruffling the feathers a little bit with the veterans. It's ball 4 to Dubler. He is a perfect 4 for 4 for getting on base tonight. 2 walks, 2 singles, and an RBI. The batter is now Horner, who is 0 for 2. 2 strikeouts and had a sacrifice fly to left in the bottom of the 5th inning for run number 3 that frame.
And I think that, for this Cinnaminson Crew team, if they can hang on here and win this ball game, that's big for them as a franchise. Just starting to this year, put a bunch of new guys together, and winning a playoff series in year number 1 is certainly a good building block if they're able to hold on.
Yeah, listen, it's not the first time that a team has done that. The Sewell Wolves did it last year before rebranding into the Blackwood Bears. Ryan Austin was able to get his team into the quarterfinals before losing to Cherry Hill Pittman last year. So it is not the first time it's not even the first time in the last 3 or 4 years that a team has muscled their way to a second-round playoff game as a new team. There's teams that have been around for 40 years. There are teams that have been around for, 20, 30 years at this point. Kip Bard has been managing the Cherry Hill team in Tri-County since at least the 1980s. He's been here for so long. He's won so many championships you can't even count. It's not even funny. But there's just been so many new teams coming in and out. It is nice to see a new swath of talent coming in. Because when you cover a league that has the same players that it's great, but it is nice to see some new guys coming in, especially when there were other teams that weren't as competitive. For example, the Pine Barrens Phantoms, as a part of the readjustment last year, actually absorbed the Delran Browns, and that's where they got Jordan DeChurch. But the Browns, strike is called on the lower half of the plate that time, going to have 2 and 2, but the Delran Browns only won 4 games in their 2 years of existence in the Tri-County League after being absorbed from the RVL. So my point is, it is very nice to see a rotating wheel of talent. Because if I cover this league for another 2 or 3 or 4 years, and I see the same players, it's not going to be as fun as when you see guys that you covered in high school. It's a swing and a miss. Batter is retired, and a relatively clean inning in the bottom of the sixth for Jaden Kerr, the York College product. He gets a hit by pitch and a walk, but also gets a strikeout to his name. We go to the seventh. This is going to be do or die for the Pine Barrens Phantoms. They'll need 2 runs in the top of the seventh, and we'll be right back seeing them attempt to get the comeback done. First pitch is low to Ryan Kelly to start the seventh. Charlie Kind, the left-hander, is still pitching for his second relief inning in his first full one. He had 2/3 of an inning in the bottom of the, or rather in the top of the sixth. Kelly is his first task, the lefty-lefty. Curveball misses inside. It's 2-0. We'll have a 3, 4, and 5 slate for the Crew. Ryan Kelly, Jack Gilmer, and Joey Steff. Kelly drove in the first of 2 runs for the Pine Barrens tonight. Fastball inside, 2-1 is the count. Kelly is 1 for 3. A ground out to the pitcher in the first, an RBI single the other way in the third, and a fly out to center in the fifth. Look out. Had to save the cranium there. That one missed up and in, and the count's 3-1. So Kind running into a bit of an issue with his control. There are arms warming up in both pens, including a left-hander for the Reds. 3 balls, 1 strike to Kelly. Misses in the dirt, and the tying run will bat with nobody out in the seventh. This is going to be big for the Pine Barrens if they want to come back and win this thing. Jack Gilmer is the batter. Nothing yet from Horner. He still stays at the edge of the third base grass, trailing towards the foul line, ready for the batter, Jack Gilmer.
Yeah, that leadoff walk is huge there for the Phantoms. Any base runners they can get will certainly add to their momentum. And again, this is a very doable comeback on the scoreboard. Last night when we saw
was a little bit more out of reach.
About 6 runs to try and come back. That's a bit of a tougher climb, but this one, 2 runs, and really, if you eliminate the one big inning in the bottom of the fifth, the Pine Barrens have been in control for most of this game. And so right now, again, if the pitcher's not going to hit the zone, take what he'll give you.
Strike called. It'll be 2-1 to Gilmer. He's 1 for 2. Fly out to left, a walk, and a single, most recently in the fifth. And the Pine Barrens, their biggest issue has been leaving runners on base. They left 1 on in the first, second, and then bases loaded in the third. Or check that, 2 runners on in the third. So that gave them 4 in the first 3 innings. You add on a 5th in the 4th. You leave the bases loaded in the 5th inning. That gives you a grand total of 7 runners left on. Make that 8 after the 6th, and if they leave more on tonight, it'll just add more to the resume. Here's a pop-up sliding in. Look at Joseph Figueroa. What a play at first base. He comes in sliding like Cristiano Ronaldo, sliding in deep into the infield. He makes the catch to retire Gilmer, and there's one away, as it looked like it was either going to be Peacock's ball or Kind's ball, and then out of nowhere, Figueroa comes in and on both knees slides on the dry grass and makes the catch.
Wow, not afraid to be great right there. It was Figueroa, and again, we said it last night. We say it a lot when it's the 2 of us together on the call, but when these rallies start to happen here, and it's a pressure-packed situation, sometimes out number 1 is the hardest to get, and that time out number 1 literally might be the hardest out of the ball game, as Figueroa has to come in sliding on an infield pop-up. Great play there for out number 1, and certainly helping his pitcher in kind.
Joey Steff, the batter, fouls off a couple of pitches. He's got a 1-2 count, or 0-2 count rather. Steff 0 for 2, walk in the second inning, failed to score, and he's had 2 strikeouts, 1 looking and 1 swinging. Not as active of a park tonight, but a good crowd on hand for this do-or-die Game 3. A couple of teams, or a couple of players from other teams in the league were here, and a couple of folks from other teams I'm sure are watching at home, because this is the only game in town right now. So we've got a lot of folks that are hanging in there here as we enter the 9 o'clock hour on this Thursday night, and some pickleball being behind us as well. And Charlie Kind looking to get 2 outs and send the Cinnaminson Crew to the second round of the TCBL playoffs for the first time in their history. There's a swing and a miss. And no doubles defense will be the call from the left fielder, Noah Waldron. He sends that command to McCloskey, who sends that command to Bannell. And there's 2 away. Connor Arsenal could be the last batter, not only of the inning, but of the season for the Phantoms. First pitch. Curveball drops in for a strike. It's 0-1. Arsenal 0 for 2. Strikeout, ground out, fly out. He's got them all except for a hit. 0-1 misses low. Runner will break for second, and not too much of a contest. That time from the catcher Peacock. Counts 1-1. It puts the runner in scoring position.
Now
Wickersham would be next.
Now things get really interesting here, because now you have a runner in scoring position with the tying run at the plate and 2 outs. This is a pressure-packed at bat.
They will say he went around. Arsenal offered at that one. It's 1-2. The Pine Barrens last advanced to the second round of the playoffs in 2023. The Crew have never done it, as this is their first playoff season. This is their first season in total. Ryan Horner, 20 years old, as a field manager for the Crew, and a pop-up could do it. Back behind the dish, Peacock will let it go out of play. Count still 1-2. And Arsenal, who's 0 for 3, is looking to drive in his friend Ryan Kelly and keep this game alive. Charlie Kind, the left-hander from Delaware and a Cinnaminson grad of 2024, is looking to shut down this game. The 1-2 pitch, well outside. Looked like a fastball that time, just missed the plate. Had a little bit too much height on it. Mark Wickersham would be next if the game continued. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Here's the 2-2. Fouled back. The at-bat stays alive for Arsenal. And he is in the most defensive mode that you can imagine. He's trying to swing at anything that is worth offering at, because if he makes one mistake, their game and their season is over. Ground ball over the head of Kind. This will go into center field. McCloskey's got to play. Ryan Kelly will score. It's an RBI single for Connor Arsenal, the longtime Phantom, who gets this game back alive. The Jets have been turned on, and they are 1 run away from sending us to the bottom of the 7th here in Cinnaminson.
What a play there, down to the final strike of the season. And Arsenal comes through with an RBI single up the middle, scoring a run there. What an excellent job under pressure. Just puts the ball in play right up the middle on the ground. It sneaks through a worm burner into center field, and he drives in a run, and now just a 1-run ball game.
That one skips away from Jackson Peacock. They're going to have a throw down to second. It's not in time. He almost overslid the bag, and the ball almost went in the center field. Dubler was the last line of defense. He's able to get it in, and the pinch runner for Arsenal, the catcher, now gets his way down to second. So a blue base hit ties this game, and Arsenal was in attack mode, or much more was in defense mode, swinging at everything to foul it off, found a right pitch to hit, and lined it back up the middle. This one is hit out towards straightaway center field. Matt McCloskey calls for it. And for the first time in franchise history, 1 year, 1 playoff series, the Crew are 1-0. They defend their home field, and Cinnaminson in their first year as Tri-County members, a whole bunch of high school and college kids defeat the veterans. Phantoms 3, Crew 4, a flyout by Wickersham ends the game and ends the season, and the number 6 seed Cinnaminson Crew will be headed to the next round with their one-run victory at their home field.
You couldn't have asked for a better elimination game here tonight. Game 3 in a 3-game series. Win or go home, and the Crew will be moving on. The Phantoms of the Pine Barrens will be going home after a terrific season, but the big thing for the Crew was that bottom of the 5th inning where they scored all 4 of their runs. The Pine Barrens, they made it interesting in the bottom of the 7th, scoring that 1 run on the RBI just a couple minutes ago, but too little, too late for the visitors, and the Crew are moving on to the next round of the playoffs. Their first playoff series win in franchise history in their first inaugural season here in the Tri-County League. That's something that you should be proud of if you're the manager in Horner and all the players in that Cinnaminson dugout.
Well, you saw as we zoomed in on the camera there a great conversation between Ryan Horner and Jerry Lamola, and I think that's where this little generational gap is. I mean, I'm looking at this lineup and at least 7 players that we covered in the starting lineup. Dubler, Horner, Harvey, McCloskey, Bannell, Schultz, Peacock, and Waldron. That's actually 8 of 9, including the starting pitcher, L.C. Smith. They were all players that we covered in high school, which means it was in the last 3 years. That's very impressive. These kids are all 18 to 21 years old. Some of them graduated high school last month, going against players that have played in this league for a long time. The youth and the inexperience turned out not to be an issue, and it ended up reigning supreme for Cinnaminson tonight. And yes, the Pine Barrens did give them a run for their money. This was by far and away the most entertaining game of the 3 that we saw. Vineland gave Blackwood a good game on Monday night, or check that Tuesday night, 5-0, but it was still a shutout game, and I think that a lot of people could tell that Vineland was the more dominant team on their home field, and then they ended up sweeping that series. Camden last night, they scored 7 runs in the first inning, and then we kind of coasted from there with a little hiccup from Burlington Township. But tonight, we didn't know who was going to win until McCloskey caught that fly ball in center. The tying run was on second base. Pine Barrens got a very nice worm burner in the infield with Connor Arsenal hitting one back through the middle and scoring Ryan Kelly. They make it a 4-3 game, and I'm thinking that the Pine Barrens might have had a little more off of Charlie Kind, but they just didn't have enough to do it. But the Pine Barrens are good year in and year out. They had a bit of a down year this year, which forced them into the play-in series, and they do go home as the losing team tonight. But I would imagine that this is going to be a very good year for progress for the Pine Barrens. They only won 5 games in the regular season, but they gave the Crew one heck of a run here this week.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, they were in control for what feels like about 90% of this game, right? We look at the bottom of the 5th where the Crew scored all 4 of their runs, and that ended up being the deciding factor for them. And you have to give the flowers to L.C. Smith, who really bared down when things got tough. You mentioned he had the 5 walks, but he only allowed 1 run for a majority of the game, and then a second run came across the score after he had exited with a little bit of an injury at first base where Ethel was okay, but it was a terrific pitching performance there for him. At one point, had the bases loaded and managed to strand all of those runners for the Pine Barrens in this game. Had the first 2 innings where he allowed a runner being just 90 feet away from scoring over at third base, and he left them stranded. Wasn't the most clean start when it came to the walks, but they didn't come back to bite him, and I'm sure that his manager in Horner is so happy to see that and so happy to see the team move on thanks to a good pitching performance and a good bottom of the 5th here for the Cinnaminson Crew.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this was a game that was decided by grit by Cinnaminson. They scored all 4 of their runs in the 5th inning, and they were efficient. I mean, the time of this game was only 2 hours and 8 minutes. It felt a lot quicker than the Camden and Burlington Township game last night just because of the volume of offense that was there tonight compared to last night, where it was scored, how it was scored. There was a lot more entertainment in this game. And like I said, I'll give the Cinnaminson Crew props. Ryan Horner is a 20-year-old manager. This could be the start of something very special in the Tri-County League if he continues to do this year over year. And we say sometimes there's teams that they have one good year and then they tend to get a little bit in their own head, and then they fall off and they only last for a couple of years, because this is a Tri-County League that does have a couple of teams come in and out every year. I did not have very high expectations for them to start, but they surprised me. Camden surprised me to start the year. They started off 4-1 in the regular season, and then they only won one game from mid-June all the way to July. So things can happen fast, things can change fast, and Cinnaminson, they could be the Cinderella story to watch this year. They're the number 6 seed, so they're the top seed of play-in teams, but they had to have the hardest fight versus the Pine Barrens. Vineland shut out Blackwood 9-0 after both nights, and Camden scored a combined 22-9 over Burlington Township. This was the hardest fought series out of the 3, and Cinnaminson will have to earn their flowers next week versus whoever they play, because they'll be, believe they would play, if my brain is telling me correct, the number 2 seed. No, it might be number 3, because it would be the number 3 seed, I believe, Cherry Hill Pittman, because the top 2 were Washington Township and then the Grizzlies, and then the number 3 seed would be there. So Bill and Angelo can correct me if I'm wrong, but it would be number 10 Vineland versus number 1 Washington Township. So it would be Vineland, Washington Township in the quarterfinals. Then it would be number 9 Camden versus number 2 South Jersey Grizzlies. Then it would be number 6 Cinnaminson versus number 3 Cherry Hill Pittman. And then I think after that, the other 2 teams in it are number 4 Rough Riders and number 5, if I can pull it up here, I'm sorry, number 4 CHBR and number 5 Rough Riders. Either way, 4 really good matchups, and I think that it's going to be a fun next couple of weeks here in Tri-County land. So that'll be all for us tonight, unless, Jake, you have any closing thoughts?
No, a terrific game here. Certainly the better of the 2 that we saw together, and this one came down to the final pitch. Just excellent work for the Cinnaminson crew. A major congratulations to Ryan Horner, 20-year-old manager, picking up the franchise's first ever postseason series win. That's something that he should be proud about and hang his hat on at the end of the day. And for the Pine Barrens, it was a season that came up a little bit short, but they were in it from the first pitch all the way till the final one, where they almost had the crew on the ropes. A very entertaining game here, and now the next round of the playoffs is set here for the Tri-County League.
That'll be all for us tonight here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso. For the second night in a row, my producer and color commentator, Rowan, upcoming sophomore, Jake Clark. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you on Sunday morning for some early morning baseball in the South Jersey Men's Senior Baseball League between the Camden Pirates and Tanky's Tavern, played on Clements Bridge Road at Barrington Park. Have a good one, folks. The Cinnaminson crew are moving on 4-3.